Good morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Monday. Glad you're here. Today's Red Mic message. Oh, goodness. Today's Red Mic message. Uh, just the facts, ma'am. How about that? My wife and I were having dinner last night. The Tonys were on, and we were waiting on the Longhorns to start. By the way, Longhorns, hook 'em. Beat Oregon last night. 2 games, best of 3 series. Woohoo! Again, great job, guys. Omaha. Yeah. Anyway, had the Tonys on while we were eating supper, and 3 different times at least, I heard some version of the phrase, "my truth," or "your truth," or "our truth," stuff like that. And every time I heard it, I thought, what exactly does that mean? And I've been hearing this for years, and I've had that same thought for years, because there are 3 different things that get lumped together. There's truth, there's opinion, there are feelings. Opinions are personal, feelings are personal, truth isn't. If you're watching the Texas Rangers and they won the game, they won the game. You can be happy about it, you can be angry about it, you can think they played well or poorly, but the score remains the score. Now, I do want to acknowledge people often use the phrase "my truth" when they really mean my experience, my perspective, my story. Those are all legitimate. Nobody else has lived your life. Nobody else has walked your path. Nobody else experienced events as exactly the same way you did. But somewhere along the way, we seem to have moved beyond simply sharing our experiences. Now it often feels like disagreement itself is treated as a problem. It's no longer enough to say, "This is what I believe." Increasingly, the expectation becomes, "And you have to believe it, you have to affirm it too." And that's where things really get complicated, because the problem isn't usually when people talk about their truth. The problem starts when they decide that they own your truth. Have you ever had anybody explain your own experience back to you, tell you what you really meant, what you really felt, what you really intended, what you really experienced? It's an incredibly frustrating situation. It's a tough conversation because suddenly you're no longer discussing ideas. You're defending your own life from somebody else's interpretation of it. All of us can misunderstand situations. All of us can remember things imperfectly. All of us can draw conclusions that turn out to be wrong. But there's a huge difference between saying, "I see it differently," and saying, "No, that's not what happened." One is a conversation, the other is a takeover. That means it becomes a forced intrusion into somebody else's story, into somebody else's life. And it seems to be happening more and more than ever. Let's talk about baseball. I appreciate the Texas Rangers' approach to cultural and political issues. I have for years. They seemed they seemed generally aware what their primary mission is. Play baseball. Let people be people. Respect their audience by not assuming that everybody in that audience is going to think the same way about everything. It's the same reason I respect the decision of a certain Dodgers pitcher who chose to not wear a certain hat with a certain symbolic message on it. He didn't personally support. You don't have to agree with him. You don't have to agree with everybody else on the field either. And that's not the point. The point is that freedom, and we're getting close to our 250th anniversary, our 250th celebration of who we are as Americans. We should be celebrating freedom, not conformity. Freedom means people sometimes make choices that we wouldn't make ourselves. Respect is not agreement. Tolerance is not affirmation, and disagreement is not harm. If your beliefs are truly your beliefs, they shouldn't require my participation to remain valid. What do you need me for? What do you need anybody else for? It's like the Seinfeld episode where Kramer didn't want to wear the ribbon. And those two guys were like, who doesn't want to wear the ribbon? A free society has to leave room for everybody to express themselves. As long as that expressed opinion or attitude is not directly touching somebody else. Facts, opinions, and feelings are not the same thing. Respecting somebody's experience doesn't require agreeing with every conclusion they draw from it. Sharing your own perspective is healthy, but claiming ownership of another person's perspective is not. Freedom includes the right to disagree peacefully. And I say this again. Respect is not agreement. Tolerance is not affirmation. And the quickest way to stop learning is to assume you already understand somebody else's life better than they do. Be humble. Humility begins when we stop trying to rewrite other people's stories and we start listening to them instead. You can have your own opinions. You should have your own opinions. You can have your own beliefs, and you should have your own beliefs. You can have your own experiences. So can I. The minute that either of us starts demanding that the other surrender their conscience in order to prove respect, we've stopped defending freedom and we've started demanding conformity. And conformity has never been the same thing as truth. That's today's Red Mike message. Hope you found it interesting or helpful. I hope you're able to put some of these things in place in your own life. If you disagree with me, fine, bring it. Let me know in the comments. If you think I didn't go too far, if you think I went too far, let me know. In the meantime, I would appreciate a like, a follow, and a share. Let other people know. Hey, I like this guy. Or let other people know this guy's full of crap. Let's have that discussion. I look forward to it. I love you guys. Again, happy Monday. Thanks for being here. I'll see you again tomorrow. And before next time, don't forget, as always, life is short. Drink the bourbon. I'll see you.